Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, welcome to
Good
Friday.
morning. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, all that stuff.
It feels early for us. We're Mountain Time, so it's 9 a.m. I mean,
One of our guests is actually Pacific, so it's earlier for him.
Them. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it always feels funny to me when you say, grab another cup of joe, but it's like 11 a.m. on the East Coast, But
it's okay, because I know a lot of people that are like heavy coffee drinkers. They're probably on their 11th cup for the day. So, yeah.
Anyway, glad you folks are with us. We've got something kind of interesting and fun to talk about. You got any announcements? We need to make. There were some folks who probably expected to find Brent Carmichael. We verbally mentioned that Brent Carmichael would be here today.
Yeah, something came
unforeseen prevented him from.
But we will have him again sometime soon. So, Brent's a favorite. Yeah. I just really enjoy that guy.
Of course.
So
we'll get rescheduled.
And then we are going to be at the NIADA convention this year. Mm-hmm. Jim will be speaking on a couple of tools for success tools for knowing your numbers. Yep. And we also have a booth. Yeah. So those of you who are going, look for us. We'll be doing a bit of social media around that to let y'all know the booth number.
Want to see our V8 folks?
Exactly. We had a really great meeting yesterday with our sponsor of V8, Pastime, and they're also a founding sponsor as well. And talking about doing some making sure that we've got all of the updated logos and everything, because they will be represented in our booth as well. Because as being founding sponsors of White Hat Way, and
I got something fun to share today on that subject. We got some visuals for everybody.
Right on.
But yeah,
excellent.
We got an agenda to get to. Shall we jump in?
So this is our way of being incredibly transparent.
Right. Maybe foolishly transparent.
Some people would say so, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But this is, we've talked all along, the principles of White Hat Way. One of the big principles is transparency. And we really believe that is, that's super valuable. And so
and it's important to walk the talk.
It absolutely is. So we do have with us two guests, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. Paul Hoyt, who is our CFO for White Hat Way. Welcome, Paul.
Some of our partners in the industry have met Paul already via email and perhaps virtual meeting.
Paul's the one on the West Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's he's in California.
Glad to have you here, Paul. Paul is our fractional CFO. He's somebody I met through a professional organization, and I've had a lot of wonderful connections over the years, and Paul is among them. Mm-hmm. So we're glad to have his expertise on our team. He brings a lot of experience.
Yeah, he and I have been diving deep into forecasting and all of that kind of stuff. And he actually gave me a B+ in it.
Oh,
so
nice.
Apparently I did well.
Oh, nice.
Good. All right. And then our other guest today, Meg Jones. And Meg is our, good morning, Meg. Meg is coming from Alabama. And she is our director of marketing. She's also a dealer, Ace Auto Sales.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And then she also has her own marketing company. So she does an awful lot, wears a lot of hats. But Meg joined us. Jim put out in the World Wide Web that we were looking for people interested in helping us moderate V8 groups. And she was one of the first ones to raise their hand. Jim had a meeting with her, and Jim comes to me afterwards, and he's like, she's really impressive.
She's got a lot of
experience.
Okay. She knows her stuff.
And since then, Meg and her husband Ryan have come and they were here for the certification course. Meg as one of our team members, but also Meg and Ryan as dealers. So they are one of our first White Hat Way certified dealers. So welcome.
Yeah, glad to have you here, Meg.
Thanks.
So I think one of the things I said after that meeting, Michelle, was that we will find a way to work together. when it comes to Meg and team, and so we will,
Yeah.
and we have. So
And we have.
so glad to have you
Yeah.
part of the team as well, Meg.
And just a little side note too about Paul. Paul is the one that we went through some very, very deep business planning.
Yep.
With him, and so
Yeah.
really, really skilled.
Many of our dealers will come to know Paul in that capacity in the coming months, because that's certainly his particular kind of strength and superpower. He's quite good at going through the planning and keep you on task about what has to be figured out.
So before we get started in our agenda, I'm going to ask both of you, like, why? What's your why about why you've joined us? So
First.
I'm going to let Paul go first. Paul, I'm putting you on the hot seat. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm happy to be in the hot seat. The why. I have two passions in life. One of them is consistent with my fractional CFO role here with White Hat Dealer Services, and that is making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and the auditors are happy with everything that they see with the way that the company is being run. I really love to put things in order. I come from this perspective of being a programmer, a computer programmer, and a project manager, and an auditor, of just making sure that everything is buttoned up and the way that it really should be. But the other perspective I bring is one of a person who has been doing his inner work for nearly 60 years, doing everything I can every day to be the best person that I can be, to treat other people fairly, honestly, to understand and respect them, with compassion and empathy, and the list goes on and on. And that's one of the things that really attracted me to Jim and Michelle and their programs, was their focus on helping people, was their focus on being fair, being honest, being transparent, and doing what they could, through the White Hat Code of Ethics and the certification program, to help good people when they really needed to be helped, when they need somebody to give them a break, to give them that car loan so that they can take advantage of a new job opportunity or recover from, something in life that really caused them to have some bumps in the road. And that's what really attracted me to the opportunity, was the opportunity not only to help them do business in the way that they want to do business, but to help them help other people in the way that they want to help other people.
Thank you. Thank you. And there has been a feeling of like incredible alignment on a lot of that. Paul just launched something that's called the Good People Project.
Good Power Project.
Good Power Project. Sorry. And it's, just trying to, well, the purpose is to give people a framework and to moving forward to being a better human all around. So thank you. Meg, same question.
Sure. Gosh, I love, staying in with people that are like he said, they're doing the right thing and being involved in that, and just allowing our dealers to be aware that there is more good people out there for those good dealers. I feel like you guys know too often sometimes us as a dealer are grouped together as not as good people, and I love that about the White Hat Way and different things that we are doing that helps us be represented correctly for the good old guys, as Jim wants to say. Too often it's like people hate buying cars. I hate that they hate buying cars. They should want to go buy a car. That's a big purchase for people. So I love being involved with you guys for those and making an impact in our industry. It's got to start somewhere. And, it can only start with us. We have to be the change when nobody else will be. And so I love, like Michelle said, we started in one direction and we've kind of flip-flopped, I guess, my role with you guys in a different direction as we've learned each other. And that's okay. You got to be flexible in this business. And I love that. And I love that you guys see the value there. And just, again, I just love helping. I know Michelle and Jim know that. I love teaching. I love doing anything that I can to help you guys. And so it's just been a blessing also to get to learn and know more about you and that your background and what y'all believe in and what we're representing with our White Hat Way that we're bringing in. because we need that. Our dealers need that. Our good dealers need that. Our customers need to know that they're good dealers out there that they can trust. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll still probably you'll likely be doing some V8 group moderating too. So if you still
for sure. I love all the different hats.
So she gave me an idea. She's talking about that. We going forward, Meg, you can have some fun with the marketing. We'll be the white hat sheriff and his posse of stigma fighters. We're stigma fighters. So we're working to overcome that stigma.
Yeah.
So no, it's all good. We're the adventure. What do they call them? Anyway, I digress. But we're here to really talk about the the agenda and kind of to provide our founding sponsors an update. So we're into a new quarter, and it just struck us as an opportunity to update them. We might sometimes record it by video and send it out to them. In this case, we'll just share it with everybody because this thing about transparency, Michelle, is like I say, we got to walk the talk. We got to, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to show it and to live it. And so what we want to do is just, there's not much of anything we do that can't be shared because we're working on a grand mission. We're very much a mission-driven company, and what we're doing is for the benefit of lots of folks, and they might as well know and help us do the thing, right?
Yeah. So they can't help if they don't know.
Right. So it's kind of, to me, it's centralizing the message. I think to hear what Paul and Meg shared, it's like, I think what we did is, and to really follow up with what Meg shared, of course, there are plenty of dealers out there that are operating with principles and taking the long game approach to business and customer relations. And what we're trying to do with White Hat Way, and I feel like we are succeeding, right? Yeah, we've kind of adopted that.
We're like, no more try.
Yeah.
That's out of our vocabulary.
And so what we're helping dealers do is to put an identity around the thing, right? It's just put a brand associated with it so we can all know for sure what we're talking about, right? So this is
and the understanding that there are plenty of dealers out there that are what we would classify, I guess, as white hat dealers. Not all of them will carry a badge, but this is just a way for those that are looking for helping their identity, their brand of being trustworthy and being someone that is very interested in the success of their customers.
Yeah. And to me, the big tie-in on that, I always talk about long game because I think we want dealers to not just be successful, but we want them to be sustainable. We want them to be successful for the long term. And that just means, building a business that has these kind of foundational principles and core principles are going to really serve in that way. So again, I think for today, it's like just making sure let's always try to be clear about what our real mission is here and what our opportunity is. And so that's what you're going to hear me spend a lot of time talking about. Let me get our agenda shared, Michelle.
I'm going to throw this up instead of the White Hat Way, the morning show, I've threw up our actual new logo. We went through. So for our founding sponsors, this is our new logo. So yeah.
And so they'll see that in the founding sponsors as well. So let me get over here to the actual agenda so we can move through that. And we'll move through it quickly. I think we'll give the sponsors more detail in the areas that are most important. But, we've already covered this thing about transparency and why that's so important. And to just show it and not just talk about it, just be open with what's happening and kind of where we're going and what's happening. And in this case, what's happened, for the benefit of the industry and so on. I put on there that the bootstrapping period is coming to a close. We have been bootstrapping this thing for a while. We've had
we've been bootstrapping this thing since I joined. It's so it's been a wild roller coaster. It has, but it's really cool is that we've been able to create as we go and have a lot of love for what has been created thus far. So
and listen, there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there, following a passion, and certainly that's been the case for us. And so that just comes into more and more focus all the time, which keeps you energized, keeps you moving forward. So I think we're starting to see capitalization come together in a way that it's not just the capital, it's the team, right? It's the human resources that are also, coming together. And so a couple of quick master repository updates for our founding sponsors. We established with our founding sponsors a cloud storage vault some time ago. We call ours a repository, and it's just a place for us to put all of the material that is sort of White Hat Way you know, digital content.
Yeah.
So
And that's a lot
there's a
of
ton of
pieces.
stuff in there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's all the podcasts. It's all, you know, we're dropping material in there. I want to just kind of give them a quick update. The most recent, most substantial elements to that were with the addition of this certification course. We hosted that first
We
pilot
had
certification course in February.
videographer there. And
So we've got
recorded the
audio
whole
and video recorded from that. Obviously, it's in raw form now. There'll be a lot of editing work to be done on that as it moves forward, but it's obviously a way to move us toward being able to deliver more and more of this stuff through online tracks. And so that we have 6 full sessions recorded, and so that's important. And then the digital badge, which I'm happy to show on the screen here, is the new version of the digital badge that is available now to our founding sponsors. We haven't sent that. That's
will be sent today.
New release, but that's something that'll be included in your email with the information about this broadcast. And so the access to all those things. So now you can start to see, you know, founding sponsors wear that badge on their website and wherever else they choose to display that. But I just have to make a mention that, you know, for the folks who don't know, that's LHPH Capital out of San Diego. You've got Dealer Re from the East Coast. That's Tim and Taylor Bird are primary ones we work with over there. And that's the reinsurance company. And then you've got Pastime, the longtime GPS. And all of these companies are decades in business. And why are they supporting White Hat Way? Because they see the need. They see the opportunity. They're not in this for ROI. They're in this for support of the broad mission, right?
And we're so aligned on the success of the consumer, transparency, kindness, love, all of those things.
We are grateful for
and
their
just
support.
so you all know, is that we will be doing making it available for other businesses that want to be able to be a part of being a sponsor of White Hat Way. That is a program that will be released in the coming months. It will require certification. But that will be something that will be an annual sponsorship too. On
that we also have, by the way, that White Hat on its own as a separate. So you'll start to see that drop into our various
so we're
locations.
super excited about
just having an updated logo and a brand, so there's something that's more representative.
But one of the things I really loved about it almost looks like a badge. To me. So it's like the posse. You know, this is what we're doing. Okay.
All right. Next. So Foundation of White Hat Dealer Services. So this is a new LLC for us, and it's really just meant to give us a place to bring in the team that is going to be driving all the services, coaching, and a number of other services that V8 will, live under the umbrella of the White Hat Dealer Services. And Paul, we're grateful to you for helping to get that, filed, the LLC set up, and all the.
We had a lot of fun doing that.
Did we? I don't remember the fun.
Well, you weren't there. That's why.
No, Paul, we do appreciate your efforts on that. And so that is as an LLC that has, Paul was instrumental in helping get the cap table put together, and each of our coaches has an equity piece in that entity. We don't have to get too specific about that. We've also got 2 dealer investors in that company, and so we're grateful to them as well. We don't need to say names today, but we're grateful for that. And this is all under the umbrella of White Hat Way. It's all part of the grand mission, and it's just the way that we serve things and kind of put different elements of what we do in these different buckets, if you will. And then you've got so I need to introduce the rest of our team. We've met Paul and Meg here today. We've also got Ken Yang, who's a retiring dealer out of North Carolina. He's really has broad experience.
He really does. And he just posted something the other day about why he is making the moves in his career that he is. And it just so beautifully aligns with a lot of the White Hat principles. He had a major health scare and then realized that, I want to give. I want to be able to spend more time with my family and give and love those around me. So really, really just an outstanding dealer.
And so he's in the process of winding down his business after kind of recalibrating where he wants to go. So we feel really fortunate to have Ken joining us as a coach, and he comes from lease here, pay here, and buy here, pay here, and a lot of entrepreneurship. So
well, and we've like Jim, CEO, Michelle, COO, and then Paul, CFO. And so Ken is the director of dealer services.
Right.
So he will be the director of a lot of these services that are coming out through the V8 track and through just the dealer services. So V8, he'll be directing that and other pieces like that. Yeah.
And I think it's, to me, it feels like a tremendous validation of the White Hat Way mission to have such talented people, contributing their talents to this undertaking. So we're grateful for them. And then the last one on the list, there's
there's Meg,
which
marketing
we've already
director,
explained is the marketing director, and then George Montemayor is our sales director. And many folks know George is an independent agent from our space.
He has a long history with credit acceptance as
he was
well.
With them for 18 plus years.
So for those of you who are interested in V8, be watching for a V8 credit acceptance group.
Yeah.
So
what's around outside financing?
That's around outside financing.
Credit acceptance. Yep. And then the other recent news is that Pastime we signed and funded a V8 sponsorship advertising agreement with them that'll run 12 months. So our V8 folks will start to see ads from Pastime.
We will be opening up a few other slots for that. Some of them, most of them will be quarterly or monthly, depending on we haven't quite flushed all of that out, but Pastime is our annual sponsor.
Right. So now to talk about the term sheet, we won't say where that came from, but we do have a strategic partner who has presented us with a term sheet. It's a 6-figure term sheet, and it's really smartly written. It calls for us to get matching contributions, which I think makes a lot of sense. That serves a couple of things in my mind. It helps to balance the risk, for them when we bring other parties, but it also means we double the resources, or the total capitalization in the end for, what is bound to, require some dollars in terms of working capital to turn an important corner as we kind of look to scale various parts of this. And V8 is very much in a position to scale. We're solving some of the important kind of barriers to scale on that. And namely that's data. So let me kind of get into
and we're working really closely with Paul on different pieces that will be involved in finishing that process up. So,
and I will stop to say, for Paul's benefit and Meg's benefit and anyone who's listening on YouTube across, everybody can hear this. It's like one of the things I'm reminding everybody as we move forward with this is that so many of the things that White Hat Way will accomplish in the coming years will not be reflected on the balance sheet. It's just important for everybody to understand. It doesn't mean there won't be assets, there won't be earnings and ROI, right? Yep. But it's important to understand that in addition to the things that would traditionally appear on a traditional balance sheet, we will have created a lot of digital value that will not be reflected.
Well, and Paul, it will be profitable.
Yeah. Yes. You and Michelle will make sure.
I mean, it's like we've already been running the numbers. It's like, it's going to be profitable.
At the end of the day, it's a business. We're moving toward, and we're still crossing T's on the benefit corporation element. And for those who haven't heard that, benefit corporation is a for-profit entity that basically makes a renewing statement of intention to do public good, that they make all their corporate decisions and management decisions through a lens of corporate social benefit, right?
And that is something we're still working on. When in a meeting with Polly, is like, oh, did you know about this? And I was like, no. So okay, let's get that done too. Yeah.
But I think the idea there is that we just think it's important for folks to know that we're a mission-driven enterprise over here, and it's important for folks to if they take the time to read the taglines and read the page that explains the why, they can see that profit's not our primary motive, right? And I realize we're saying that to folks who are going to be our investors, and I keep saying it. We're the folks who are going to align with us are the folks who are going to play this longer game with us, and there's going to be ROI, and there's going to be some real impact.
That's
that
why
can't
it's
be
a
measured in-
benefit. Because it really is. The higher purpose of this is to help a customer base that has been very disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why, Paul, I'll say for your benefit, that's part of why we established that that repository. And it sounds a little bit morbid, but the idea is that in the event that something should happen to Michelle and me, we want to make sure that all the material and all the effort that's been put into creating this brand is able to survive and to continue to, that all the content is there, that we can continue to advance this brand, this mission, this movement, if you will. And so this is all part of, why we think it's important to just, and it's also kind of reminds me, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody who looks like they will be part of our kind of resource in terms of financial planning for our clients and others. In talking to them, I was reminded about the analogy that I use about the extension ladder. We all know how an extension ladder works. You slide it up and the things slide in and kind of as a safety catch and keep it from sliding backwards. And I often think about that as a metaphor for the way I want to build our business in terms of when we work hard, that we block in the thing so that we don't lose the ground that we've created, and that we're able to continue to build on what's been established. And so that's part of what that's about for me. And then the exploration of strategic partnerships continues. We're in discussions now, pretty serious discussions around an important solution around data. And data for us is such
for V8.
It's all of it. And it's all the data management and the opportunity that exists around data. So let me take a minute to talk about that for the sake of our founding sponsors. We recognize more than perhaps some, because we live so deeply in the weeds with our dealers in terms of the data element that is their daily life. The access to software from the DMS and how it communicates with accounting or doesn't communicate with accounting, and all the stuff about analytics and everything that happens over there. And here we are running a really complex business, right? We have a lot of moving parts in our business, and profits don't correlate with cash flows, and performance metrics, are tricky because there's just lots of different layers to what we do. So it's very important that we get really good with data, that we are others have used, and I'm coming up to the conversation that I recorded with Alan Keat about the BHPH Market Watch podcast, right? So as we talk about those things, Alan's a guy who obviously has lived in deep analytics, and so he recognizes sort of the fragmentation element with our particular industry. And what I mean by that is it's just not contiguous. It's there's a bucket of data over here, and there's a bucket of data over there, and there's a DMS that's got a solution, and there's different places that it's just fragmented. It doesn't communicate well. And I would just say that this is an area that you're going to expect to see White Hat Way continue to forge ahead to create solutions where all these things communicate better with one another, because the data element is so important. And that's why I say we're going to do this under the umbrella of solving an important problem. Right. Yep. And so will we be paid in the course of doing that? Of course, there will be revenue streams associated with many of the things that will happen around that. And the overarching opportunity there is to march ahead to make lives easier, simpler for dealers. And ultimately that extends to the customers they serve in different ways. We don't have to get too deep into that today, but just data management at so many different levels, and the ability to tie things together is going to be a really important opportunity. So we'll continue
so that you're looking at the right numbers compared to the right numbers.
And
with dealers, because and tying it to financials and tying it to just a lot of different pieces. You've got
analytics, which is day-to-day management for the dealers. Then you've got banking, you've got accounting, you've got all these things that need to really speak together or speak better.
And this is Jim is a data
nerd.
Okay.
I don't have pocket protectors.
Cute, and I like him a lot.
Thanks.
But as a data nerd, I mean, this is it's not necessarily improving the relationship with your consumer kind of data nerd type thing with this, but this is about dealers being smarter and making more informed decisions, and being able to really drill down to what things are holding them back from growing, or holding them back from having better success, or holding them back from reducing their repo rates or their charge off rates. All of these things, which are really, it's, yes, we want dealers to be known, liked, and trusted in their communities. We also want them to get better at retaining their profits.
Mm-hmm.
And to be very successful as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And I can say that one of the things you will also see as part of the mission story that you'll hear me tell in the coming months and years is that we recognize that, data is one element, artificial intelligence is another, where we have this opportunity. And I didn't put on the agenda here, but I'll remind our founding sponsors that we have the domain whitehatway.ai. You will see us move on some efforts to drive AI for the benefit of the industry, both dealers and consumers. Okay. So we invite people to, come and contribute to that effort, but whitehatway.ai is going to be mining data, and it's going to be working to create efficiencies for dealers and create solutions that
it's also going to be skinned as a search engine for our White Hat Way certified dealers.
Right.
So this will be like all of the things that have been recorded in any way for White Hat Way, for all the coaching, all of that it will become a part of that repository. It will be accessible to the search engine. So
and Meg, I'm sure we've been in the same room, and but you see the gray hair here. This old guy is learning some AI over here.
Gosh,
we're kind of figuring out how to do some of that, and having so much fun with it.
Well, I know it's like when you were working with Paul around the all of our business planning. Jim was like, yeah, and he just went over to AI and he was like, oh, I can build that right now. Blah, 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 blah. Here it is.
Sure. I happen to know somebody who can build that for me in about 13 seconds. So,
and it's like I experienced that an awful lot with Meg as well. Both of these individuals that are sitting with us today highly leverage the use of artificial intelligence, because it is just such a beautiful tool. And you'll hear more from us we actually had someone ask us, hey, can you put out a training on how to do X?
Shameless,
or how to do,
shameless plug. It's happening on April 17th. Meg and I are going to host a V8 Plus session on how to leverage AI.
So those of you who are in V8, and if you're not and you want access to it, reach out.
But I think the other element to that, and Paul, you've heard us talk about this, I'm sure, but I think the reason this is also significant, and I'm glad to have a chance to talk about this in this format, is we recognize that artificial intelligence is one of those areas that some view as this Wild West, right? Is this wild frontier? Where's it going to go? Can we harness it? Is it going to run away from us? I mean, and this is why I think White Hat Way belongs in this conversation. Is it feels right to me to have whitehatway.ai have a little white hat, on the logo, because when we bring white hat approach and principles and a whole team of people who are going to make certain that, well,
this hits home. So,
let's make certain that there's a white hat wearing sheriff of some kind as a team that drives these things for the benefit of dealers and consumers in our space. Eventually beyond that, right? I mean, the work that will be done there, when we're thoughtful about the way we construct that, the work that will be able to extend beyond our industry. But this is where White Hat Way belongs as that kind of the sheriff, if you will, around AI, data management, and there's more. I mean, we don't have to get into all the pieces today, but I would just say that's part of where you can expect to see White Hat Way show up for this industry. Okay.
So capitalization, we talked about that a little bit.
Just a little bit. The main thing I want to say about that, same thing I've touched on. This is, we actually are starting to shift my schedule. We just let go of a client that we've had for some time. It's kind of a hiatus. They may come back, but it's my point is, it's an effort for me to be able to focus, everybody says when you're in capital raise mode, it's going to take a lot of your time, and we're going to be very much in capital raise mode and building that part of our business. And so I'm freeing up my schedule to be able to go and do that. And I've told people I will go do presentations in any room, anywhere. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Launch
All right.
of V8W, the other developments.
So that is a V8 product, which is actually going to be in the form of a podcast. We've already done a few recordings on that with our director of dealer services, Ken.
Sure.
And so that will be something that will be first released to V8 members, and then parts of that will be available to the general public on our website.
Right.
So this is not a podcast that will be syndicated. This is a piece that will be on our website, but anyone is welcome to be able to get in there and enjoy that.
Yeah, and for those founding sponsors, just quickly, the way that format's going to work is that we're going to record. Ken and I will record sessions around V8, White Hat Way, I should say. Then we will schedule a live session, a reaction episode to that material, where we will have members of the V8 community able to sit in and react and join that conversation and add their own 2 cents. We've had White Hat certified people already in the V8 ecosystem, and so they'll be able to sit there, and then that episode will get released to the public.
Yeah.
So that's the part that we look forward to.
Yeah, and so it's the same thing too with the BHPH Market Watch. Right. We've already recorded one episode. We'll be recording more. We won't be releasing that yet because we still have artwork and all of that kind of stuff to do with it. But that will also not be syndicated. That will go into the website. So, and it will be available to the public. You just need to go to the website and be able to watch those there.
Right.
So,
and the BHPH Market Watch is, Alan Keat will be a recurring, returning guest on that, because his experience in the capital markets picks up where mine kind of leaves off. I'm operations and financial, and he kind of.
Well, Jim's like where you're a data nerd.
Yeah.
He's a data nerd in capital.
He came,
and
his
market
career
watches,
started in working with derivatives and stock trades and that whole side of the financial world.
Jim was having to say, like, okay, so you just threw out like 17,000 different acrolacronyms, and I don't even know what those are.
So my job here will be to interpret for our buy here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we already know that. I wish that we had like a glossary of terms, which is, something that we can put together for buy here, pay here, because there are so many terms that people are new. They have no idea. So we're getting into markets as well.
So Alan's as a data guy, he's a guy who found his way to the buy here, pay here space and kind of deep subprime auto finance by way of the capital side of the business. So I look forward to these ongoing conversations with Alan. We'll bring experts to that conversation, and look forward to having folks come and join that topic. And then you mentioned the speaking at NIADA. That's on a Wednesday morning. We'll get the word out.
We're working on the tools right now. Jim's been building them. So those tools will be available on our website.
I'm just beautifying them.
Just beautifying them.
They've been available.
Yeah. So the open items, there was one thing that you did not talk about that I was like, oh, what is it? And that is focus groups.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
So there's another piece that is we are in the process of hammering out details with a vendor that this is a new thing that we're doing through. Is this a White Hat Way?
Everything's under the White Hat kind of umbrella, but yes, it's a V8.
It's a V8 solution, and these are it is V8. These are focus groups where a vendor that has a new product and wants to be able to get some insight from dealers. That we will be putting together a group of dealers. First choice will be for those that are members of V8 to be able to participate. And the vendor is putting together a presentation without their logos and all of that about this new product that Ken will be doing hosting most of those. The vendor will not be at the focus group, but the vendor will be getting access to all of the recordings from the focus group, and only those dealers that wish to have more information they will be given access to contact information. So this is for vendors out there, the ability to be able to say, hey, this is a new thing that we have created, and we want to know, what you think about it, what things we can do to improve, what we like bullseye, and then pricing and those kind of things. So that because it's, when you mentioned this to the vendor that we're working with for the beta, they were like, I'm on. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really, really valuable for dealers and vendors alike, because why are we doing this? There's a couple of reasons. One, not everyone gets to a conference. And the only way for a dealer to be able to have access to vendors in a space where they can go and look and have a conversation, and just to become aware of the things that are out there, this is a virtual platform. This is something that, and those recordings, or that they will be sent to the vendor, and we haven't quite decided what we're going to do with those recordings afterwards, but there may become part of a database or something. I don't know yet. So, but we're really excited about this launching of.
So I want
focus
to,
groups.
and I know we'll wrap up. I'm going to come back to Paul and Meg to see if we left anything out of, that they feel like belongs on the talking points today. But I would say, Paul, one of the big things that I'm aware of is these kind of initiatives move forward, and White Hat Way is to step into that. You guys forgive the kind of the word sheriff, but to help understand the role of White Hat Way in this context is, I think we recognize that we're fortunate to have earned the trust of a number of dealers and other, folks around the industry. We intend to preserve that trust. And part of what will be very important is, as we move into a role of being stewards of data, it's going to be especially important that we're cognizant of privacy and compliance, and that we preserve those things for those folks who do place their trust in us. Trust is what we're about. I mean, we've got to make sure that we preserve as stewards, that trust that's placed in us. And so I think this is where you can expect to see. And I think, Meg, when you think about the branding side of what we do, this is why you'll hear me emphasize again and again. At the end of the day, I feel like what we're selling as much as anything over here is trust. It's like we bring that solution. There are other coaching firms out there. There are other people over there who do data. There are other people do this and that. I think the thing that was going to make us unique in the marketplace is the role that White Hat Way will play as a sheriff, and that's really has very little to do with Jim and Michelle. We just kind of created the identity, and the structure, and now this thing can go to work on behalf of dealers and entire industry, and we're also being mindful to build it in a way that can go beyond. So, Paul, anything to add or contribute to what I've shared there?
I'll just add that, back to the whole theme of transparency and openness, one of the things that we want to do when it comes to the data and all of the activities of White Hat Way is making sure that we have all of the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and we have an open kimono that people can come in and take a look at what it is that we are doing and the plans that we have going forward. Because it really is, we're a team here on this call together, but, the bigger picture is teaming with the other 14,000 dealers across the United States, to help good people, take that next step in their life, to do good relationships, to have great contracts and great agreements between people, and do what we can to embody and embrace this spirit of transparency and honesty and fairness in this entire industry.
Yeah, got it.
Thank you.
What about you, Meg? Anything to add to what's been expressed?
I agree. And just simply creating that new standard that should already be in place.
Yeah, absolutely. There is one piece. So those of you who are listening, again, we're going to be at the conference, national conference, and it'll be a White Hat Way booth focused on V8. Why a focus on V8? That the decision has been made that that we understand that as this grows, that dealers will be like, oh, I love this and I would like to be a part of it. And we understand that through our podcast track, there's a lot of people that are very familiar with what it is that's happening and but we're not familiar with them. And to wear the badge of White Hat Way, it's essential that we're familiar with them. And when we did our first certification course in February, that we asked, when we were completed and we were just kind of getting some feedback, it's like, how would you suggest that we make sure that we know someone? Because that was a concern. It's like, do we want someone who is a bad operator, or someone who is mistreats customers to wear the badge of White Hat Way? And so how do we do that? And so as the beta group, it was decided that in order for someone to become certified in White Hat Way, they need to be in V8 for 6 months. That way we have the opportunity to get to know their numbers, get to know them, get to know a lot of their philosophies, and just, it's like, and you just, it's like bringing home your fiance to get to know the family before you actually get married. And so this is why, as we go forward with the national convention, V8 will be the focus, because V8 is the pathway. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot more things that are coming that are really going to be profound tools for dealers. And we didn't even talk about one of them that Jim and I last night were mapping out. It's like, we got everything we need to do this. Profound tools that will drastically move the needle for dealers, to be more successful and to be able to focus on the things that becoming known, liked, and trusted, and not be focused on all of these other things that are having tools that will help them in their ability to have a profitable and efficient and all of those things dealership, so that they can focus on the things that are most important.
Right. Yeah. So it's all important. I think, dealers, I would say, can rest assured that I feel confident that Michelle and I can say, we see the struggles, we see the disconnect, we see the opportunities around making dealers' lives easier, putting better information in front of them, so that they can make informed decisions. And so the work continues.
Just one, we've teased this before. One of the things that's coming is White Hat Capital. So and it's only through V8 and White Hat certification that you get access to this capital program. Initially,
early, in the beta stages.
And I just wanted to do, George, love the logo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a long time coming to get this, to get that. And it was a fun process. And it was, Jim actually mentioned that we went through a organization called Freelancer and put it out there for bid and got,
that was Meg's suggestion.
It was Meg's suggestion. Yes. It was like 3,000 or so submissions.
Meg, imagine me on a Saturday sitting going, reject,
he was like, I hate this. But I was like, honey, you get to be the one to do this, because this is your.
It was my vision, right? I kind of had a vision. All I was really doing was to make it a little more three-dimensional and modern.
So he showed me like 6. It says, which one do you like? It's like that one. Yeah. That's the one. So we're really good partners. But I made him do all the work.
Of course, some partners.
AI does for you too.
Pardon?
That's what AI does for you too. That went from 1,000 submissions to 3,000 real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything from either of you, Meg, before we?
No, we appreciate you, and I'm excited to see where we're going and where we've been. And excited, and I hate for someone to miss this train. It's going to be.
But you know what? Everyone's welcome. Yeah. So it's just it's. You might hit it, get onto it a little bit later or whatever. But
one of the things I also appreciate about Meg is, and Paul's got some intersection with Oklahoma. I'm originally from Oklahoma, so Meg in Alabama, we speak at the same speed. I love it. I love it. We just, it's important.
I come from Seattle, and so it's like I'm like, It's
Yeah,
the, the home of grunge
Paul
and music
just
and
probably heard me say it. When I
and
first moved to Utah, Paul, I used to tell
Starbucks.
people out here, I said,
Mhm.
look, I just moved here from Texas. Please speak slowly. And so it was kind of a fun way to meet people. Yeah.
Before we let you go, Paul, any closing thoughts?
Great job today. Great to be a part of this energy, to be a part of this passion project to create a good business, for ourselves, but to create thousands of good businesses, helping hundreds of thousands of people, with one of the most important purchases in their life, giving them places where they can go that they know that they are being treated fairly and transparently and honestly. Seems like a really good project to me.
Thank you. And it isn't like we did a thing a while back, this is how many billions of dollars a year?
Oh, it's estimated that our industry originates like $25 to $30 billion annually. So there's no shortage of opportunity.
Yeah. And very, very needed. All right. I'm going to put you guys backstage. If you can hold on for just a second. Great. If you got to go. Hi, Ryan. He's like, I wanted to get on camera. All right. So I'll put you guys backstage. Thank you very much for joining.
I think what she meant was it was good to see white hat certified Ryan Jones.
It was great to see white hat certified Ryan Jones. Really, really enjoyed getting to know him better when we did our certification course. We will be doing another certification course, just trying to lock up the where, and we're hoping that it'll be right around the national convention. That will be by invitation only. So when we step into, we're going to try to do 2 more this year. After that one, we're going to try.
I'm hoping to be invited. I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, you're invited to that?
I'm hoping I will be. Yeah.
Oh, well, play your cards right. Might be.
Yep.
So we will be doing that.
Yep.
Coming up. So, and the certification courses are not just for dealers. They are for vendors and business people alike.
Yep.
So Corinne from Pastime was one of our vendors that was certified. So was Karen Barnett
as an affiliate.
Affiliate. So they both are now officially white hat certified.
Right.
So, okay. What else?
I think that's it. We should let folks get back to their stuff.
That was a long one.
It was.
Sorry for how. Sorry for hour long when we do one of these things. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us. It's Friday. We know you have a lot of other places to go and things to do, but you make a choice to listen, and we really appreciate it. Those of you who are listening on the syndicated podcast stations, if you want to be able to look at the agenda, please go to YouTube and like and subscribe. Jim and Michelle Rhoads. And what's the tagline now?
I just look up Jim and Michelle.
Just look up Jim and Michelle.
Just don't
Rhoads.
put an E in Rhoads.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great day. And thanks again. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday.